create a menu for our game. And so in order to create a menu, we're going to use widgets. You can remember that last time we used widgets in order to create this U1 screen, and this time, yeah, we're gonna use widgets once again. So I'm gonna open the blueprints folder, and here, yeah, you can see this the widget that we have created last time. So let's just do the right click and then go to user interface and find widget blueprints. I'm just gonna rename it, and I'm gonna call it menu. So let's click and open it. Okay, first we're gonna start with canvas. I'm gonna drag and drop the canvas panel. It's just empty canvas, and then on this canvas we're gonna create the widget or the menu in our case. Since I want just a very simple thing, just 2 buttons, I actually could have created it just like 2 buttons, but I want to show you what other elements we have inside this widget creating tool. So let's find vertical box and drag and drop it like this. So now we have this vertical box, and what the vertical box does, it allows you to arrange elements vertically within this box. What we can do, we can change the anchor for this box, maybe to left side of the screen and move it a bit to the side, and I'm gonna make it a bit bigger, just like this. If you want it to be like really close to the edge, you can change, for example, this to 0, and then the box will be this close to the edge. But I think I'm okay with this like 30. That's fine. And now inside this box, let's add 2 buttons. Actually just gonna add 1 button and then copy its settings for the other one. So this is the button. Since I want 2 buttons, maybe it's not that important in this case because we have only 2 buttons, but let's imagine you have 3 or 5 buttons, and in this case you might need to set margin between the buttons because you want it to be accurate. So let's select the button, and now you have details for this button opened here. It has the padding. By changing this numbers, you can adjust where the button is located. So for example, I want it to be 10 from the top, maybe even bigger, 50 from the top, and I wanted 50 from the bottom. And then I go to color of this button, which is the background color, and let's select just the red one. And now for this button, of course, we want some text on it. So let's type text and drag and drop it like on the button. Now we have this text block. Of course, we want our custom text instead. So let's type start. Okay, and now when you go to font, you can change the size, and when you are changing the size, you can see that actually you are changing the size of the button as well, which is good. So I think that 50 is fine, but it's of course it's up to you what you want to do. And the second button will be just quit. So let's select this button, Control C to copy and Control V to paste, and we have just the same button. And because we have set the padding, now we have this distance between the buttons, which is great. So the only thing that we need to do is to change the text here. So let's go to the text and type quit. Okay, if you decide that you want this button a bit higher, instead of moving it, you can just select the button and, for example, select the top padding and set 0, And now you can see it is much closer to this button just because it doesn't have the margin. But it still has the distance because the first button, this one, it has the bottom margin, which is right here for this button. Yeah, I actually like the way it looks. So let's save, compile this thing, and let's continue. So we have two buttons. What we need to do, we need to decide what these buttons do. And in order to do that, let's select the first button and then go down to the events and find this unclicked event. If you watched my previous lessons, you already know how everything works here, so it's not a surprise for you. So when the button is clicked, what we're gonna do, we're gonna open the level, and we're gonna select this by object reference so that we can select the level from the list. I'm gonna select this win-lose level, which we have created last time. Then let's go back to designer panel and select the quit button. And we do the same on clicked. And if we click quit, of course, we want to just quit the game. And yeah, we have this node quit game. Okay, so this is very simple things. Let's just save and compile. And now our next step is actually create a space where we can see this menu, right? So you already know that your game consists of levels, and actually menu is just another level. It's not how we understand levels as gamers, but it's just how it works. So in order to create menu, you need to add another level to your game. So file, new game, new level, and this time we're gonna add just the empty level. Okay, and this is the empty level, nothing interesting here. Let's click save. And when you click save, it asks you to create a new name for your level and save it. So I'm gonna just give it a menu name. But when you create this new level and click play, you can see that we have this coins thing here. That's because we have created this widget to collect coins, and it was automatically created when we start this level. Moreover, the character is here somewhere as well, and we don't want that. And in order to fix that, I'm gonna just click stop. We're gonna go to the content drawer once again. Then here, I'm just gonna create a new blueprint class. We're gonna use this class, game mode base. And as you can see, game mode base defines the game being played, its rules, scoring, and other things. So that's what we need. I'm just gonna rename it to, okay. And if you open this up, you can see that there is nothing to render right here because the default pawn class is empty. You can see. So let's just close this, and now you're gonna need world settings for this level. I already have the settings right here, but if you don't see this world settings, you can go to window. Just make sure that you have your menu level opened. So you go to window and then find this world settings right here. So for the world settings, we're gonna find the game mode override, and right now we have none, but I'm gonna drag and drop this blueprint class here. Okay, and now when I click play, no coins and no character is being rendered. Okay, which is now it's time to add the widget that we have created to this blank menu. Okay, so let's open the blueprint of this level. So right now it is empty, of course, but what we're gonna do, we're gonna use this event begin play, and as you remember, just the way we did before, we're gonna create widget, this one, So we're going to select our widget. Don't forget though, if you haven't saved your widget, you will not see it's here in the list. So make sure your widget is saved, and now you can select it here. And another step, we're gonna add it to viewport. Okay, and target will be the widget. Okay, save, compile. And now let's open this level, click play, voila, we have the buttons. Let's try to click on start. And what we see this level, which we have created last time with the platforms, and I can click play and play the game. Very good. But I see a problem here. So let me start again. So you can see right now I do need my mouse to be visible in order to click the buttons. But when I start the game, I don't need the cursor to be visible anymore. So we're gonna fix that because we don't need the cursor to be visible. So let's exit this level. And in order to do that, let's go back to the widget where we have created the menu and go to graph. And if we go a bit higher, we have event construct here. As you can see, this event called after the widget is constructed. So what we want to do, we want the mouse to be visible in the menu, and moreover, we want it to work only with the elements of the menu, which is the elements of the UI. So in order to do that, let's get player controller first, because that's the way we get the player controller, and in this case it's the mouse. And then through this node we're gonna set show mouse cursor. It does what it does. It says whether the mouse cursor should be displayed. So we're gonna check this box because we want to see mouse on the menu, and of course we're gonna connect it with event construct. And now, since we want it to operate only with the UI, we're gonna need set UI, this one, set input mode UI only. So this node set up an input mode that allows only the UI to respond to user input. And that's what we need, right? So I'm just gonna move it a bit higher. And don't forget to connect it with the player controller. And then for the game starts when we click start button, right? So we're gonna get this node, and this node once again, copy paste. But at this time, let's move those to the bottom. So this time we actually don't need this node because instead of this one we have set input here, set input mode game only. So we had UI only and now we have game only, which makes sense, right? So we connect it like this once again, and then from this open level node I'm gonna connect it like this and uncheck this box because we don't want to see mouse cursor in the game. So let's save, compile, and check. So I'm gonna go to the menu, we still can see the mouse, and when we start the game we don't see the mouse. Yay! So our menu looks like this. I know that we do simple things here, but let's add a picture, okay? Because right now it looks, it doesn't look like a menu, right? So because all this black, it's just emptiness, it's nothing. And if you do want a picture on the background, I'm gonna show you how to do that. So first you're gonna find a picture, and I have found this one. I like this one. You can use any picture that you find, absolutely any. Okay, so we're gonna use this picture. First, we're gonna open the content drawer and import this picture. I'm gonna use the objects folder because that's where we are having all our objects. Just drag and drop your picture here. Don't forget to click Save All. And now you can see it's texture, save. Okay, and now you need to right click on it and go to Sprite Actions and go to Apply Paper 2D Texture Settings. What it does, it sets compression settings. It's good for optimization and other things. So let's do that. Again, save, 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 save. Okay, very good. And now let's go back to the menu, designer. Oh, it's still simulating. I'm gonna click stop. So we have two buttons and we want the picture or the image to be right here. So if you type image, you can find this image thing. So let's put it on the canvas. And for this picture, you want it to be everywhere, right? So let's go to anchors and select this one. And then if you go to offset and change those to 0, you can see that now it fills all the screen. Then you're gonna select your image here, brush image, none, and here you can find your image. Okay, so I have selected my image in the list, and here it is. We see only one problem here, right? We don't see the buttons. So let's just move this layer to the top, and yeah, now we can see it. All right. So if you want to move, for example, your buttons, you can just move this vertical box right here. Okay, let's just check. Okay, yeah, I think that's fine. Maybe it's too close to the edge. Like this. Okay. All right. I know it doesn't look good. We do not do a beautiful design here. I just want to show you the functionality, okay? So don't judge me. We're gonna save compile this thing, go to the menu level, click play, and voila, now we have this image and two buttons, and we have our game, and we can play it, which is great. And yeah, we've done it. Now you're really close to actually create something that looks like a game. But you can't create a real game with just basic shapes. And you're probably gonna need some models for environment, for your character, for everything that is gonna be inside your game. I have already showed you a few websites. I'm gonna show you once again. One of them was this one, where we have downloaded our character and all the animations. The other one was TurboSquid, where you can find a lot of 3D models. We also have found the coin that we use in the game on this website. We also have Sketchfab, and as you remember, we found Platform on this website. So yeah, there are actually a lot of different resources available to you when you are creating your game. But I want to show you another one, and this is Marketplace inside Unreal Engine. So when you open your Epic Games launcher and go to Unreal Engine tab, you can find this Marketplace tab. And what it has a lot of different things inside. You can see that, yeah, it has the price, but we actually have a few free ones. If you go to the free tab and choose permanently free collection, you're gonna find a few very good packages with a lot of things for a game. And since they are permanently free, you shouldn't be worried about they changing the license at some point, or I don't know. Let's choose something for our game. We have, for example, Egypt. Usually they have all the assets that you will find inside laying down like this. So you can have an idea what you have. Fantastic Village is one of the good packages that you can start with. It has a lot of different things inside, and you can see it works great for a lot of games, not just platformers, because we have a lot of different things here. But for this course, I'm gonna choose the Asian Village. Although you might think different things about our character, I think that this environment fits him. It does. We also can use these as platforms. So yeah, I'm gonna take this package, free, accept. And now I can add it to my project. It's gonna take a few minutes, and then after that we're gonna open the project and we're gonna have all the assets inside. All right, so I have the project opened. Let's take a look. Go to content drawer, and yeah, here it is, the Asian Village, and all the assets are right here. So let's take a look what we have. We have some blueprints, we have maps, materials, meshes, textures. Okay, so we have something to work with, and I want to show you how the process looks like. Although we don't have time to create a real level of a real game, I'm just going to show you how it works so that you can do the same when creating your own game. So I'm probably going to start with a new level, and it's going to be just a basic level. You're going to add the player starts first, just where you want it. Maybe like this. And then you go to content drawer and start building. So let's first put some landscape textures. We have some grass, so we can just drag and drop the grass on the floor. We have some ground. Let's put ground. If we put plane and transform it. And then put some stones on this. And then we can take a few meshes. What do we have? For example, we can put some bush here. It needs some time. And then a few bushes. For decoration, you can put some grass, and you can do it several times. For example, yeah, so we have a few. We can put several bushes like this. For example, looking pretty good. And then For example, we can use these cliffs. Put this cliff, this very big one, huh? Let's make it smaller. You can see that depending on the assets you use, it may require some time for the system to actually understand what happens and to render the objects, but that's definitely fine. So for example, I want to this really big cliff right here and move it like this and make it smaller. I'm not sure if it's enough distance between, but the idea is that my character can jump from here to the side and then from here to the next one. Let's click play and take a look. We have our bushes, we have this big big rock, and then okay, yeah, that's definitely too high. So, and now after you do this, after you design your level, you can, for example, put some coins. Okay, so now we have the coins. He collects the coins, he jumps, collects this one, and collect that one. All right, let's take a look at this Asian village folder once again. I just want to take a look what we have. We have a few trees, so we can, for example, put this tree here. Let's move it closer. We have different kind of trees, so we can put one here, one there. And you can see that with all these decorations and textures, this looks more like a real game, right? Although it's not, it's just a prototype. But with this package or with other free packages, you can really create your own game and make beautiful environment. So the only thing that you need to do is to create the game itself using all the techniques that you already know. For example, we could use some of those buildings as platforms. But we need to move it to this side a bit. So yeah, this different views, they can help you a lot because you just, you know, open the view from a side and you can see what happens. And now, for example, we can use one of the blueprints that we have, which is the platform. It's in the blueprints folder, I think. So we have this moving platform and we can use it because we have this blueprint for this platform, but you can use this blueprint for other object. All you need to do is to change the object and you will have this moving platform. Okay, let's take a look. Oh, okay, look at the tree. Okay, yeah, that looks nice. It has all the shadows and everything. Whoop. Okay, and here is my moving platform, but I think it's too it's too far away from me, but that's okay. Let's put a trigger box. And you remember that we are using this trigger box to end the game when it's time to end the game. So you already know how to do that. Let's do it really quick. We select, I'm gonna select the trigger box. This time I will not rename it, but of course for your game, I think you should rename. So then you're gonna open level blueprint. Now let's try if the trigger box works. It does. So now if I don't jump, yeah. So now using everything that you have learned from this course, you can actually create a game. And this free packs is a very efficient way to do that. I will move this platform far, but let's put this banner, I think it's here in the blueprints, double jump banner on this platform. And now we're gonna need double jump to reach this moving platform. Okay, I just have this idea to use everything that I showed you. The coins, the jumps. Whoop. Okay, so now I should be able to double jump. Oh, yay. Perfect, perfect. So that's how you do it. And I think that using everything from this course, you'll be able to create a real game. And I can't wait to see your game. All right, and this is our last lesson where I'm going to show you how you can export your game. I really hope that you will create your own game, and at some point you will need to export it. So let's do it. First, I encourage you to check that you don't have anything that you don't need inside your content drawer, as we have a lot of things that we don't need. Once you've done that, then you go to the platforms and select packaging settings. Okay, so first we go to this build configuration, and now we are in the development configuration. We need to change it to shipping, because we're gonna ship, we're gonna export. Then here you're gonna choose where you want to export your game. For example, desktop. Then we have this full rebuild, and if you want to export your game as a whole, then you need to check this box. Or if you correct some levels and you want to rebuild your game, you can rebuild only these levels, only the levels that you have changed, and then you can just uncheck this box. But for now, I'm gonna check this box. Description. So here you need to fill all the information about your project and the thumbnail. So what you're gonna do, you're gonna choose an icon for your game. I'm gonna use Photoshop to crop this and save it as PNG. Square like this, and then save. So icon should be 192 by 192. That's the format for the icon. So you're gonna export and select the PNG format. I'm using Photoshop, but you can use any application, and there are also a lot of online tools which can help you to do that. Okay, and now we have this thumbnail. Then we go to maps and modes. And here you need to set a default map. So this is the map that your player will see when he opens your game. So of course it should be the menu, right? So we do have the menu. Let's find it here. Game default map should be menu as well. Okay. All right, now let's go to supported platforms. Here you can choose which platform you want to support. And I just want to select Windows. Okay, so we're gonna export only for Windows. And then you scroll down to platforms and find Windows, since we checked the Windows box. And so here you're gonna see Splash. So the splash screen is the first graphical notification you receive when you visit any app or a game. So when you, for example, when you open Unreal Engine, you see this image, right? So we're just gonna choose the image that we use for the menu. Just make sure that you select PNG files, because if you click here it will show you other formats, but PNG works better than the other formats. And here we select the icon, and you can see dimensions are 256 by 256, and it should be ICO form, which is the format for icons. If you don't have a special application that can work with ICO files, what you can do, you can just use any cloud converter for this. All right, so now we're gonna go back. I see that we need to save something. Okay, now we saved. And now we go to platforms, and you can see we already have Windows here. And if you click package project right now, you're gonna see this message. And what it says that the SDK for Windows is not installed. And that's right, you probably don't have the SDK for Windows on your computer, and we need it if we want to export a game for Windows. So let's fix that. So you're gonna see this message, and what you're gonna do, you're gonna go to Google and find Windows SDK and find Windows SDK. And here's the first link. You can see it's microsoft.com. You're gonna open this link. You can see that this SDK is for Windows 11, but it actually works for Windows 7 and up. So we're gonna download the installer and then just install these SDK. Okay, so you need to find this folder, which is Unreal Engine 5.0, or it can be 5.1 if you use the next generation of Unreal Engine. So it should be either in your program files and Epic Games folder, or I have this folder inside my app. So you're gonna open Engine, then Binaries, then third party, then .NET, then Windows, host, this one, and this one. And then you're gonna copy this file. Then we're gonna go back to Binaries and find .NET and just paste this file right here. Now you're gonna open the browser again and find .NET Core 3.1. Open this up and download it for Windows 64. Вот так. Okay, and now we're gonna install it. Now we're gonna launch our project once again. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna delete this Asian village pack, because as you remember, we have menu as the start of a game, and if I click start, then we're gonna have this level. So in fact, I don't need this package, and I don't need the level. To the maps and delete this map that we've done. This was the level with the assets. To be honest, I should have started with that. So first you're gonna delete the level and then delete the assets for this level. But it is what it is. Okay, and now let's try to go to Windows Package Project, select folder, and we're gonna wait a few minutes and let's take a look. After a few minutes, hopefully you'll see build successful. Yay, congratulations. That's a very good news. Now we can open the file with the game and take a look how it works. So, you know, our game is very simple. So we just have the menu, we can click start and see the level. Awesome, everything works. Congratulations. If your packaging has failed, you can go to filters and filter just the errors and filter just the errors.